Welcome to Virginia Peninsula Community College's High Capacity Vehicle Operator Awareness course, preparing you to transport our gators responsibly. This awareness course is a two-part course that consists of this video and/or classroom presentation, as well as a practical exercise portion. In this video, we're going to cover program goals, public relations, stop and think for a moment, college classified high occupancy passenger vehicles, pre-departure checklist, driving defensively, knowing your vehicle, and we'll review the HOPV operator practical exercise session. The goals of this program are to increase your awareness about the differences between high occupancy passenger vehicles and standard passenger vehicles, allow you to demonstrate your skills in vehicle operations through the use of predetermined practical evolutions. This course does not teach you how to drive, and completing this course does not designate you as an operator of a college high occupancy passenger vehicle. Your completion status of this awareness program will be relayed to the Office of Finance and Administration for consideration of college HOPV operator approval. All HOPV operators should hold a current CPR AED certification, as well as know how to operate a fire extinguisher using the PASS system. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the flames, squeeze the handle, and sweep side to side. There are overview videos for CPR AED and fire extinguisher usage in the Canvas module for Health, Safety, and Security made available to all employees. In an emergency, dial or text 911. Know how to operate the vehicle safely and the emergency egress systems equipped with the vehicle. This is not a certification course. This is an awareness course. Review the evacuation procedure with all passengers prior to departing. Let's talk about public relations in our high occupancy passenger vehicles. You are the college's best or worst public relations agent. The public views you more while you are driving than at any other time. Our high occupancy passenger vehicles are designed to grab someone's attention. They are essentially rolling billboards. There's both good and bad associated with public relations. The good, while you're operating a high occupancy passenger vehicle, safe driving displays professionalism and respect to the public. You show courtesy. We keep our vehicles clean. The bad, vehicle crashes involving college vehicles or state vehicles can be embarrassing for you, the college, and our students, faculty, and staff. College vehicle accidents have serious legal and personal consequences. An emergency scene is created. We've talked about the good. We've talked about the bad of public relations. Let's talk about what can be ugly public relations. If our vehicles are operated and they've got property damage, there's a potential for injuries to personnel and to the public if you're in an accident. Our public image and that of your department may suffer. You, the driver, or the college may be subject in a lawsuit. Please don't make improper gestures, use improper language. Remember, you're always in the public's view. Our vehicles should be kept. Don't have an unkept appearance, keep them clean. Driving recklessly or aggressively is unacceptable, and impatience in dealing with the public is viewed every day. Again, these vehicles are rolling billboards. You are an ambassador of our brand, an ambassador of our college. You are a recruiter even when you're driving. Please, make it all good. In the next few slides, we're going to talk about why we're here, the differences between high occupancy passenger vehicles and regular passenger vehicles, the difference in carrying 2 or 3 people in your vehicle and 10 or 12 or 14 people in a vehicle, the differences in the centers of gravity, the wheelbases, and the types of vehicle operations. These slides depict tragic accidents involving college high occupancy passenger vehicles from across our country, many of which included the untimely death of a number of college students, some athletes. We are in no way placing blame. We are providing this information to highlight the dangers of operating these types of vehicles. As you can see, the headlines are horrific. A sophomore on the Holy Cross rowing team was killed in a van crash. Others injured. 2 Navarro College basketball players were killed and 7 other players and coaches were injured. That crash on a Monday night as Navarro College's team was returning in 2 vans after a victory at Parrish Junior College. The second vehicle was broadsided by a tractor trailer as it followed the first van in making a U-turn. 4 members of the North Texas College softball team were killed when their bus was struck by a tractor trailer that crossed the median. 11 Delaware State University bowling team members were killed in an accident right here in Virginia on I-85. In that instance, the driver was charged with reckless driving and failure to maintain control of their vehicle. 13 West Georgia Technical College students were injured when their bus flipped over. 7 were hurt in an Iowa Wesleyan University College bus crash that was driven by a faculty member. An incident that occurred with a Utah State University high-occupancy passenger vehicle led to additional research and recommendations provided by the National Highway Transportation and Safety Administration. The van, about 65 miles north of Salt Lake City, was involved in a rollover accident which killed 8 students and an instructor. 2 other students were injured. The 11 occupants of the van were ejected as the vehicle rolled over 4 times on Interstate 84. The key findings and lessons learned as it related to the Utah State University high-occupancy passenger vehicle rollover included the fact that 9 people died in a 15-passenger van, which was a 1994 Dodge Ram. It was a rollover accident. It was attributed to failure and detreading of the left rear tire, causing a blowout. This happens in 80% of rollover incidents, even on tires like this one that only had 16,000 miles on them. At least 50% of the weight is distributed to the left rear tire under normal load conditions, causing the left rear tire to wear out 3 times faster than the other 3 tires on the van. There were 11 passengers in the van. Most likely, the rear bench seat was removed, decreasing the number of passenger seats, but providing more room for luggage. There are false rumors shared that removing the back seat reduces a chance of rollover. In fact, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration has stated that 10 or more passengers increases the rollover risk by 500%. Removing the back seat does not make the van safer, but in fact could increase the instability of the van. The same university had a similar rollover accident in 2001 in a 15-passenger van, similar to the one involved in this incident. In the 2001 accident, 6 members of the university volleyball team were injured. Shared the information about these previous incidents and the lessons learned from them to help you enhance your situational awareness about driving these high-occupancy passenger vehicles. Now, one may think, do I need a commercial driver's license to operate these vehicles? The short answer is no. You do not need a commercial driver's license or CDL to operate these vehicles. The college classifies high-occupancy passenger vehicles as 8 to 10 passenger vans, which typically have an unloaded vehicle weight of between 6,000 and 9,000 pounds, and our 12 to 15 passenger shuttle buses, which have a typical unloaded vehicle weight of between 8,000 and 10,000 pounds. Now let's add to that weight by putting our passengers and cargo on our vehicles prior to departure. The next set of slides will take a quick look at some of the high occupancy passenger vehicles in the college's fleet. The next set of slides shows examples of the college's minibuses without a wrap so that you can see the safety features, window locations, access and egress points, storage locations, and handicap mobility accessibility areas. The next set of slides depicts the interior of minibuses. It's important to remember that the college has one mobility accessible minibus and one non-mobility accessible minibus. Before we get into vehicle awareness and departure and operations, let's take a moment to make sure we fuel our vehicles with the appropriate fuel. Our high occupancy passenger vehicles use unleaded fuel only. Let's talk about vehicle awareness. And while we've mentioned fuel, and the fuel is the same type as our passenger vehicles, make certain you only use unleaded fuel. Make certain that you use the assigned fuel card to refuel the vehicle, and refuel the vehicle after each use before returning the vehicle to the fleet. Know that there are significant differences between our high occupancy passenger vehicles and our regular passenger vehicles. Weight, stopping distance, the center of gravity, the turning radius of these vehicles, and make sure that you know how to appropriately adjust and use your mirrors. Before we hit the road, let's do those pre-departure checks. Make sure you know the accident policy for both the college and the state. Do you have your driver's license? Do you have the fuel card? Make sure you adjust your mirrors. Confirm your fuel level. Make sure the person who operated it before you didn't leave you with no fuel. Confirm that preventive maintenance was performed and the following are within acceptable limits. Operation of your lights and backup alarm. Tire pressure. The vehicle's fluids to include oil, brake, transmission, and coolant. A reminder, never open the coolant while the vehicle is hot. Now that you've completed your pre-departure check, let's stop right here for a moment. Let's learn some lessons from UPS. What can Brown do for you? Before a new UPS driver delivers a single package, they must pass a demanding training program. Integral to this program are 5 seeing habits that keep their drivers safe. They aim high in their steering and look well ahead, not just at the vehicle in front of you. Get the big picture. Look out for things going on around you. Again, this is situational awareness. Keep your eyes moving. Don't fix your glaze. Look around. Use your peripheral vision. Leave yourself an out. Prepare. Plan an escape route if something unexpected happens. And make sure people see you. Use your turn signals. Drive with your lights on. Use your horn and make eye contact with other drivers. 2 things that you may not have noticed about UPS drivers, but that are important to their safety record, is that they rarely turn left or back up. UPS drivers are taught to favor right turns unless a left turn is absolutely necessary. Left turns cause a vehicle to go against the flow of traffic and are more likely to cause an accident. A study by the National Highway Traffic Safety Association of crashes in intersections, crash factors in intersection-related crashes, and on-scene perspective showed that of critical pre-crash events, an event that made a crash inevitable, over 22% involved left turns. In contrast, right turns were reported as pre-crash events only 1.2% of the time. A study in New York City showed that left turns were involved in more pedestrian crashes than right turns by a factor of 3 to 1. In addition to reducing the risk of collisions, UPS found that implementing minimal left turns has not only reduced accidents, but it also has saved millions of gallons of gas each year and reduced vehicle emissions since vehicles don't idle while waiting to turn left. So we're almost ready. Let's get you prepared to drive. Make sure your seats are dusted properly. Get the proper positioning of your hands on the steering wheel. Have your legs slightly bent at the knees, and make sure the seat is at the proper height. Should we position our hands on the steering wheel? Sit straight but relaxed and place your hands on the steering wheel. If your steering wheel were a clock, your hands should be at 8 and 4. Hold the wheel with your fingers and thumbs. Avoid gripping it with your palms. Shuffle steer. This means your hands don't cross each other. Both hands remain in contact with the wheel at all times. Used for turns and for counter steering, and it becomes more comfortable with practice. Know your vehicle, especially your vehicle's height. Do not go through the drive-thru. Park and go inside. Do not pull under motel or hotel overhangs until you know that the vehicle will fit. If it is within inches, park, don't pull under. You may pull under loaded, unload, and the vehicle may return to a normal height. Think before you go under or into underpasses, overpasses, train trestles, bridges and tunnels, and parking garages. If you think it's low, don't go. Depicted in this slide are some unfortunate height-related incidents at underpasses and in the drive-thru. Again, if you don't know or you think it's low, don't go. Understanding your vehicle means also understanding the wheelbase and overall vehicle length. The wheelbase of our high occupancy passenger vehicles is typically longer than that of a passenger car, and they typically include more rear overhang past the rear tires. You have to use caution when traversing hills, deep dips, and steeper grades in driveways or railroad tracks, as these can cause damage to and/or cause your vehicle to become stuck. High occupancy passenger vehicles have a higher center of gravity than standard passenger vehicles, typically built on truck chassis that are higher off the ground. The vehicle itself is typically taller and has additional weight in the roof area. These characteristics make these vehicles more susceptible to wind. They can present with rollover hazards when turning and when using on and off ramps. We ask that you pay particular attention to high wind warnings and bridge or tunnel wind restrictions when operating these vehicles. The center of gravity is exacerbated when people are standing or when the vehicle is moving and is dependent upon the equipment supply packing. So what can we do to help you be more aware of the rollover risk? And how can we help you think about reducing the risk of rollover? Do not load items on top of the vehicle or tow a trailer. Do not overload the vehicle with passengers and/or equipment. Passengers should be distributed evenly from side to side for balance and sit toward the front of the vehicle. Drive at or slightly below the speed limit. When loaded with passengers, vehicles should not exceed 60 miles per hour. Obey traffic signs and markings. Drive appropriately for the weather conditions, and do not attempt to make the vehicle do things that the vehicle is not designed to do. So let's allow Gilly the Gator to help us ensure that we're packed appropriately. Probably not as you see in these photos. Let's make sure everything is put in its place first. Is everything stowed properly? Is everything and everyone secured inside the vehicle? Is the back door of the vehicle secured? As depicted here by Gilly the Gator, everyone must wear a seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelt prior to the vehicle moving and ensure that the seatbelt is worn at all times while the vehicle is in motion. Don't move until everyone is seated properly. Is everyone seated properly and buckled up? There should be no standing or walking around the vehicle while it's in motion. This includes you, Gilly. When we think about the dashboard of our vehicle, do not place or store items on the dashboard or block any field of view for the operator. Do not place or allow anyone else to place their feet on the dashboard while the vehicle is in motion. I want you to drive defensively. What is defensive driving? It's driving to prevent crashes in spite of incorrect actions of others or adverse conditions. Distracted drivers make this more important than ever. Maintain your situational awareness while you're operating vehicles. Know where you are going and know the route. If you are using a GPS, mount the GPS and have it provide turn-by-turn audible directions to prevent taking your eyes off the road. Drive with your headlights on at all times to make the vehicle more noticeable to others. Minimize distractions and take control of the vehicle that you're operating. Distractions include people, cell phones, music, lights, movement, singing, loud conversations, or arguments. If you must talk on the cell phone, make it hands-free. How about letting someone else do the talking for you? We haven't hit the road yet, but we're getting closer. So what do you have to do? Always clean any snow, ice, or frost from all of your windows. Secure any loose items within the vehicle so that they don't cause injuries during a crash. This includes trash that can interfere with the pedals or the operation of the vehicle. Make sure you know the vehicle's evacuation procedure and you review those procedures with all passengers before moving the vehicle. Ensure all doors are locked and passengers are secured and seat belted appropriately prior to moving the vehicle. And please know that drivers experience more fatigue when operating a vehicle between midnight and 6 a.m. In addition to fatigue setting in between midnight and 6 a.m., there is also another time when fatigue is most common, and that's between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. On long trips, schedule rest stops every 2 hours. Try to make your driving during the day. Have someone awake in the front passenger seat. Check weather conditions prior to any trip. Be prepared not to go if conditions are extreme. Leave early to avoid making mistakes and becoming anxious. Give yourself enough time to get to your destination. What not to do? Don't be overconfident. Yes, these vehicles may sit somewhat higher than most passenger vehicles. However, do not drive through standing, flowing, or floodwaters. Turn around, don't drown. Do not drive fatigued. Do not drive these vehicles off-road. Do not swerve or make abrupt vehicle movements or go off the hard surface to avoid items in the roadway such as wildlife or trash. In these instances, brake safely in an attempt to stop. These vehicles do not respond like standard passenger vehicles, and swerving or abrupt vehicle movement may make them susceptible to rolling over. Be comfortable, but drive defensively. The position and use of your feet. Your right foot should be placed squarely over the accelerator, over the brake only in anticipation of braking. Your left foot should never be used for braking. Rest it on the floorboard to assist you with balance. Position of hands while holding the wheel should be a firm grip with both hands. Do not let the wheel free spin. Do not palm the wheel, and do not allow the wheel to slide through your hands. Again, we want shuffle steering. Your mirrors. Many of the high occupancy passenger vehicles do not have an interior rearview mirror. Many have bus-style mirrors or truck mirrors. Drivers need to utilize their mirrors effectively. Make your adjustments prior to moving the vehicle. Allow vision of the side of the vehicle and as much of the lanes next to you as possible. Use your convex mirrors to get the big picture, to help with your situational awareness and eliminate blind spots. The biggest blind spot for 15-passenger vans is directly behind the vehicle. Mirrors should be adjusted so that they can barely see the edge of the van. Mirrors should be scanned every 3 to 5 seconds. Prior to moving, as you adjust your mirrors, make every attempt to eliminate blind spots to the best of your ability. For those that you cannot eliminate, make sure you know the location of your vehicle's blind spots. Compensate for those by using others to assist you. Don't hang out on either side of large vehicles. Don't tailgate. Don't overtake or pass other vehicles on a single-lane road or two-way traffic roadways. If you cannot see the driver, they can't see you. Make sure you've got an escape plan. Leave yourself an out. This slide depicts blind spots of a charter bus. So you can use this to think about where the blind spots in your high occupancy passenger vehicle may be. This is also a good depiction of where you should be when traveling in the same direction as other large vehicles. If you know you have blind spots, they too have blind spots. Don't put yourself in their blind spot. Maintain a safe following distance. Ensure that you have a cushion of safety around the vehicle and no traffic on all sides if possible. Drive in the right-hand lane whenever possible. Recommended safe following distances are as follows. When weather, road, and visibility conditions are good, maintain at least 5 seconds behind other traffic. When weather, road, and visibility conditions are bad, maintain at least 10 seconds behind other traffic. When a vehicle in front of you passes a fixed object, for example a telephone pole or mailbox, count 1001, 1002, etc., and you should not pass the same fixed object before you reach your designated count. Your following distance directly impacts your stopping distance. Maintaining a following distance that allows you to see around larger and longer vehicles impacts your stopping distance. Fatigue impacts your stopping distance. Your alertness impacts stopping distance. Reaction time impacts stopping distance. Scanning ahead impacts your stopping distance. The more weight you have, the longer it takes you to stop. The higher the speed you are traveling, the longer it takes you to stop. Stopping distances increase 3 to 15 times greater on snow and ice. The turning radius of high occupancy vehicles is typically greater than that of a passenger vehicle. That's because of the length of the vehicle, the overall wheelbase, and the tracking. They may require wider turns, slower turns, and even 3 or more point turns. U-turns should be avoided in high occupancy passenger vehicles. Enter a parking lot and turn around. It may be safer and does not subject the vehicle to a broadside impact. Graphic depicts turning radius and turning angle, the curb-to-curb turning radiuses, the wall-to-wall turning radiuses, the angle. Oftentimes the wheels cannot be cut as hard as those in a passenger vehicle, and the overall length of the wheelbase of a vehicle. Navigating tight spaces and backing. When you're in tight spaces, use a spotter outside the vehicle. Ensure that that spotter is visible to you as the operator at all times. Do not place the spotter between the vehicle and traffic, and the spotter should don a safety vest before exiting the vehicle. If you must back, always use a backer. Always use standard backing signals. Ensure the backer is visible to you as the operator at all times. Do not place the backer between the vehicle and traffic, and always sound the horn twice before moving the vehicle in a backing motion. Back or not to back. Another lesson from the brown trucks at UPS. UPS drivers are also taught to avoid backing up because it increases the chances that the vehicle might collide with something or someone. In the NHTSA report Fatalities and Injuries in Motor Vehicle Backing Crashes, most fatalities and injuries were found to involve passenger vehicles. Children under 5 years of age and adults over 70 were at greater risk of death from back-over collisions. If you must back up, check your surroundings carefully and thoroughly before doing so. When you back up, back as slowly as possible. Use your rearview mirror, side mirrors, and backup camera. Avoid backing out into traffic. Prior to departing, ensure that the vehicle's reverse lights and alarm are operational and always use a backer. If you must turn while backing, consider using a spotter at the front of the vehicle to monitor the swing while using a backer to guide you. If you do not have to back the vehicle, find another option. Again, use standard backing hand signals for turns, stopping, proceeding slowly, emergency stoppage, and distance to the stopping point. Ensure, as the operator, you can see your spotter and that the spotter can see you in the mirror. Loading and unloading passengers with mobility devices. As a reminder, always turn flashers on when loading and unloading. Always load mobility vehicles and their passengers before all other passengers enter the vehicle. Properly secure the device, the wheelchair or scooter, to the vehicle. If the passenger must remain in or on their device, ensure that the passenger is appropriately secured in or on the device. If the passenger can disembark the device and board the vehicle, allow them to do so, then load and secure them and their device appropriately. When unloading, allow all passengers to disembark the vehicle before unloading passengers and their mobility devices. Do not park in handicap spaces. Use loading and unloading zones. Make sure you leave room for mobility impaired passenger loading and unloading. Understand how to operate the accessibility ramp and lift properly, and know how much room it requires to operate properly. Load and unload on level surfaces. Make all attempts to load and unload at curbside. Never unload persons into traffic. Do not overload the lift. It's a person and mobility device lift, not an equipment lift. To unload your equipment. Whether it's unloading from the rear or curbside, leave enough space to load and unload. Do not place people between the vehicle and traffic, and load and unload in loading zones. Loading and unloading passengers, always curbside and never into traffic. Always leave enough room so that entering or exiting passengers can see around the vehicle. Do not unload into tight spaces that obstruct unloading passenger visibility or that requires them to step out into traffic to dismount the vehicle or clear the vehicle. Do not move the vehicle while people disembark the vehicle or attempting to access the vehicle. Place the vehicle in park while loading and unloading passengers and equipment, and ensure that your flashers are on. We prepare to conduct the practical exercises and get you behind the wheel. Let's talk about the high occupancy passenger vehicle operator practical exercises. Make sure you arrive on time. Do not walk freely around the course. No persons are allowed in the vehicle except the driver during final practical evolutions. Seatbelts will be worn at all times. The horn must be sounded before any reverse maneuver. Engage the parking brake when the vehicle is stopped. Engage your emergency flashers when the vehicle is parked. Close the door when the driver exits the vehicle. And do not walk around the course while vehicles are in motion. The high occupancy passenger vehicle operator practical exercises include forward and reverse cone course skills, as well as an over-the-road driving portion. As we conclude this awareness program, it's important to understand that successful completion of this program does not designate you as a high occupancy passenger vehicle operator. You must still meet all of the college requirements to operate a state and/or college-owned or leased vehicle and have the authorization of your supervisor. Now, as we recap what we've covered, we've discussed public relations and the fact that these HOPVs are rolling billboards and marketing tools for the college. What has and can occur and how we can work to minimize and/or prevent vehicle accidents in our high occupancy passenger vehicles, the different types of high occupancy passenger vehicles within the college fleet, what to do before you leave, defensive driving, making sure that you park in a space, not in drive-throughs, don't use drive-throughs, know your vehicle and maintain a state of situational awareness. And we've reviewed the High Occupancy Passenger Vehicle Operator Practical Exercise course. Now, who's ready to practice?